Good afternoon. As it is 5:30 p.m., I will call this City Council meeting of August 19, 2025 to order. We acknowledge that this meeting is being held on the ancestral lands of the Coast Salish people and pay our respect to those past and present. Tonight's invocation will be provided by Pastor Mark Bahr, Redeeming Grace Church. Please stand for the invocation.
Let us pray. Almighty God, the supreme governor of all that exists, for these whom you have gathered here tonight and placed in the position of as councilmen and women in accordance with your providence, we ask that you might give them grace tonight. We pray that you might send down upon them the spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice, that with steadfast purpose they may faithfully serve in their offices to promote the well-being of all people. And Father, for those who will be taking oaths of office tonight, we pray that you would be with them, strengthen them in all that they do, and help them and grant them safety. And that may the proceedings of tonight's meeting be orderly and peaceable. And these things I pray in the name of your precious Son. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This will be both a physical meeting and a virtual meeting. Some members of city staff or consultants may be participating via teleconference. Today's meeting may be viewed on YouTube, Facebook, and following the meeting on cable channel 10 HD 1090. There's no need to call roll. Mayor Pro Tem Heisen has been asked to be excused. So if I could have a motion and a second, please, for her absence. We have a motion to excuse Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Councilmember Marshall. All in favor? Passes. Okay, thank you. Approval of agenda. Are there any suggested changes to the regular agenda? All right, so if there are none, it is approved as presented, and we will move on to presentations. Tonight we have an Oak Harbor Fire Department presentation, an oath of office and badge ceremony. Here to introduce that is our Fire Chief Anderson, who will conduct the oath of office and badge ceremony.
Mayor and Council, thank you for giving us the opportunity to come do this in front of the public as well as each of you. So today we have a brand new firefighter that's joining our ranks, as well as catching up with the promotion that happened back in May when one of our members was promoted but unfortunately injured himself and was unable to make it. So we want to get him sworn in as an oath or an officer in our organization as well. So first I'd like to bring up Jesse. Jesse's brand new to our organization. Jesse comes to us with over 11 years of experience. He was a captain in the fire department he was working for before. So we're super excited to have his experience and, most importantly, his enthusiasm for the job. I probably hired over 150 firefighters in the course of me being a chief officer, and I can tell you, Jesse's towards the top of the group when it comes to how excited I am about new members. So I appreciate his effort and attitude that he's had just to make it to where he's at with us, and his enthusiasm that he's brought to our organization. So super excited to have him here. If you want to come up, we'll read the oath of office, and I believe you said your wife was going to pin the badge on you?
Yes.
All right, so really quick. So want to raise your right hand? I solemnly swear to perform my duties as a firefighter in the city of Oak Harbor to the best of my abilities.
I solemnly swear to
perform my duties
as
a firefighter for the city of Oak Harbor
for the city of Oak Harbor
to the best of my abilities.
to the best of my abilities.
I will serve our firefighters and officers
I will serve my firefighters and officers
with respect,
with respect,
with dignity,
with dignity,
with honor.
with honor.
I will serve the citizens of Oak Harbor
I will serve the citizens of Oak Harbor
with courage,
with courage,
with compassion,
compassion,
with integrity,
integrity,
regardless of the consequences.
regardless of the consequences.
I will uphold the laws of the Constitution of the United States of America,
I will uphold the laws of the Constitution of the United States of America,
the state of Washington,
the state of Washington,
and the city of Oak Harbor.
and the city of Oak Harbor.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right, here's your badge. Here's your opportunity to get it back. Congratulations. Thank you. So next we have a promotion from firefighter Lieutenant Josh is here. A little bit about Josh. He's been with our organization for a while. He did go over to another department, but was smart enough to come back. And we're super excited to have him here. I'll tell you, the night before we had the promotional exam, which is a pretty stressful process, we run him through several different assessment centers. That night we had a fatal fire, and I know I was out there till about 2 in the morning. I know he was out there past that. So getting very little sleep, coming back, and first thing in the morning having to, excel in the assessment center to come out number 1, which is pretty impressive. So congratulate him on that. It just demonstrates his knowledge, skills, and abilities that even after only getting maybe 1 hour of sleep working all night, you can still come in and execute. So that says a lot about his preparation. So you ready for your oath of office? I state your name.
I, Josh Fixie,
Solemnly swear to perform my duties
solemnly swear to perform my duties
as a fire officer for the city of Oak Harbor
as a fire officer for the city of Oak Harbor
to the best of my abilities.
to the best of my abilities.
I will serve our firefighters and officers
I will serve our firefighters and officers
with respect,
with respect,
with dignity,
with dignity,
with honor.
with honor.
I will serve the citizens of Oak Harbor
I will serve the citizens of Oak Harbor
with courage,
with courage,
with compassion,
with compassion,
with integrity,
with integrity,
regardless of the consequences.
regardless of the consequences.
I will uphold the laws and Constitution
I will uphold the laws and Constitution
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the state of Washington,
the state of Washington,
and the city of Oak Harbor.
and the city of Oak Harbor.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Awesome. Your wife and kids are going to come up and help put your collar brass on, your badge.
Do it.
She's got one on there. Congratulations. Pictures?
Can we do a council?
There's one up here. We'll let you get a quick family photo together.
All right, we're gonna get council behind you, okay? Ready? Perfect.
Want to get everyone else?
Oh, yeah,
All of them
let's
up?
get everyone in
Get
there.
everyone.
Angela, you too. Ready, 1, 2, and 3.
We'll give you one with Jesse's family, just them, and then we'll get one.
All right, stay safe. All right. Ready, 1, 2, and 3. Do you want any?
All right, we will take a 5-minute recess to allow congratulations and accolades. So we'll be back at 5:44.
Yes, we are.
All right, so it's 5:44. We are going to go back into session. We're going to move on to public comments. Members of the public may comment on consent agenda items or subjects of interest not listed on the agenda at this time.
Mayor, we have another presentation on the
I
agenda.
do not have that on here.
That is my fault. It's on your agenda?
All right, so we have another presentation. Communications interns are here to present.
Really the love there.
Sorry about that, guys.
All right. My name is Caitlin Upson.
My name is Nolan Saltonstall, and we are your summer interns for communications.
Yes. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share everything we've been doing this summer. We are excited to get a chance to talk to y'all.
Yeah. So this is the clicker. So what do we do? So we are communication interns. So we're assistants to Maggie, but beyond that, we wear a lot of different hats as interns. So we primarily do social media. So that's a lot of community engagement. We post pretty frequently on Instagram and Facebook. We make a few videos once a week. We also do a lot of meeting with community leaders, so for projects. So we go out. We've met with chief, fire chief, Main Street people. ICOM, that's right. Yeah, and I done some photography, but yeah, we do a lot of broad stuff, and so I'll go more detailed. So I'm Nolan, intern Nolan, and so I began my local government passion with my service project through Would-Be Royalty. And so we were advocating for a community rec center, and we went to the council meeting and we presented, and I just kept coming back to meetings. And what I learned through it was that I would say like 50-70% of problems that people have can be changed on the local level. And that's really shocking, because every time I go to the meeting, it would be like this, bare bones, and but everybody's complaining like, oh, the governor, oh, the president. But what that gave me, that kind of lens is with this job, is that local government can serve you in a lot of different ways. A lot of people don't know that. And so with what I've done with social media, a lot of posts is, showcasing what our local government does. And so I've done a couple press releases, grants we've gotten for road repair. I've photographed events, that I've caught the mayor and council out in the wild at ribbon cuttings, parades. And I've done this nifty thing called Time Travel Tuesday, which is like, highlighting historical scenes in the city every Tuesday, and just getting people to see like, what their government, not only what their government does, but, what their government can do for them, how can they make their lives better just by being civically active, which is huge. And I've done a lot of photography too, which is fun. But yeah.
All right, and I am Caitlin. Unlike Nolan, who has taken a little bit more of a forward-facing position as intern, I tend to be a little bit more in the background. I am the designer and creator of a lot of the flyers that you see on Facebook and Instagram. A couple examples of them was I created the Save a Life with CPR and the Pulse Point app flyer, which was to raise awareness about the CPR program that our local fire department offers, as well as what the Pulse Point app is. It's very briefly very similar to an Amber Alert about people in cardiac arrest who need CPR, and anyone who's got the app downloaded onto their phone will be alerted, provided it's not within a private residence. Our main goal, like I said, was to just raise awareness about that. Another example of that was I worked with Nolan on the What Do You Know program to raise awareness about where to find meeting minutes, different things about local governance, things that people should know and are publicly available but may not necessarily know where to find them if they're unfamiliar with how government works. And then a very large portion of my summer was involved with our Score and Explore program, which is a new initiative intended to increase tourism through sports teams traveling to Oak Harbor. We want to encourage them to stay longer than just for their game, hopefully for a day or two. And so once Nolan and I had determined exactly what broad categories we wanted for the program itself, such as activities, different amenities like food and where to stay, I started contacting local hotels in the area to see if we could network with them to provide larger group rates and whether or not we would be able to advertise as such in our pamphlet. through various reasons, we can't advertise a specific rate like I was initially hoping for. However, we did network with Candlewood Suites and Best Western Plus, and we have come to an agreement that we can basically say, hey, if you're coming here and you have a large group, call them, mention Score and Explore, and they will get you connected with someone who can offer you a group rate discount. The program is finalized. It has been posted on the city page, and we are very excited to see how that influences tourism in the next coming year. And then here's a little bit of our behind the scenes images that we have taken on different tours. Both Nolan and I in front of the Prius, which we have taken all around the city to take different photos and videos. And then I think Nolan should tell you the story about the printer.
Me and Maggie spent an hour trying to work the printer to make business cards. It was an adventure, but yeah, that printer is interesting. But yeah,
Printers are haunted. I swear, they can sense fear.
But yeah, and beyond everything we've said, we've done a million different kind of side things. It really has been an introduction to government. I think the other day we were helping Julie with ordering what was it, public records, just sorting them into files. And I've done some website editing. I've made a couple pages. And so, a lot of the job, it's felt like training for how to be in government. And it's been really eye-opening. And we really do thank you guys for, you didn't have to make this a position, much less a position for 2 people. And so thank you for giving us this opportunity. It's been really great.
Yeah, it has been absolutely wonderful, and I have thoroughly enjoyed everything that we have had a chance to do, and getting to do it with another person, too, has been invaluable because it's not just an echo chamber. Nolan and I disagree very heavily on certain things, which is very useful.
No, we have ideas. Yeah, it's great.
And we are both very headstrong. We don't back down. So I definitely think that it's definitely a 2-person job. At least that's my opinion. Thank you all, and have a wonderful rest of your night.
Hey.
So on behalf of the executive office upstairs, I want to say thank you to you guys personally, because you guys have been so much fun this summer, and watching you guys interact with the different staff and the citizens as you've been out and about, and as well as the council members up here. So thank you for all of your hard work, but also just for being you and just all of the interactions and the fun that we've had over the summer. So thank you very much. All right, now I'm going to move on to public comment, if that's okay. All right. So, members of the public may comment on consent agenda items or subjects of interest not listed on the agenda at this time. There will also be an opportunity to comment on the remaining agenda items during the meeting as appropriate. Comments on public hearing items will be heard during that portion of the agenda. The public can also visit our website prior to our meetings for methods to submit public comments or contact the city clerk, Julie Nestor, by phone or email. When submitting public comments, please include your name and address. Public comments sent anonymously or from a non-verifiable address will be shared with the mayor and council, but will not be displayed. We received 2 new public comments since our last regular meeting. They are displayed here on the screen. All right. Are there any members of the public present who wish to speak to items not listed on the agenda or on the consent agenda? If so, the clerk will call your name in order in which you signed in to speak.
Mayor, we had no one signed in to speak this evening.
Perfect. Is there anyone that came in afterwards that is here that would like to step forward and make public comment at this time? All right. Hearing no one else who wishes to speak at this time, we'll close public comment and move on to the consent agenda. We will now move to the consent agenda. Staff has presented the list of consent agenda items, all of which were included in the meeting packet. Are there any objections or changes to the consent agenda as presented? All right, hearing none, may I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda by Councilmember Merrow,
Second it.
seconded by Councilmember Arms. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. All right, that passes unanimously. Thank you very much. My comments. All right, bear with me. Observing a moment of silence tonight first. We join the Spokane County Sheriff's Office and the entire law enforcement community in mourning the tragic loss of a Spokane County Sheriff's Office sergeant killed in the line of duty when struck by a motorist while assisting with a large traffic hazard on eastbound Interstate 90 on August 9th, 2025. Our deepest condolences are with the sergeant's family, friends, and colleagues. Please join me in observing a moment of silence in honor of their service, dedication, and sacrifice. Thank you. Representative Rick Larson visited our city. The City of Oak Harbor Marina was pleased to provide a tour to Representative Rick Larson on August 6th. Representative Larson has been a wonderful supporter of the city's great grant applications, and we appreciated his time learning about the marina's needs. He was very complimentary of the city's leadership in the administration and the direction that the city is taking, or the direction that the administration is being taking the city in. So we were very excited to hear his feedback and welcome him a couple weeks ago. City Administrator Combs attends the summit and conference. City Administrator Sabrina Combs just returned from the Washington City Managers and Administrators Conference and a first ever Northwest Women's Leadership Academy Women's Summit in Walla Walla, hosted by the Walla Walla Police Department. Sabrina was a part of a panel on being a city manager or administrator. Charging stations. The city's 2 electric vehicle charging stations in downtown Oak Harbor on Dock Street will now have a modest fee for their use. This comes at the request of the community and downtown businesses who observe non-electric cars parking in these spaces, or EVs parking without charging, which limits their use by others. The city used LTAC funds to upgrade them in 2023, and the city council approved the $2 per hour after 2 free hours on the last master fee schedule update. We are going to be putting up signs letting users know that after 2 hours of free charging, they will be charged $2 and after $2 an hour thereafter. The revenue will go back to the general fund for charging station upkeep and power costs. Upcoming community events. There are a number of upcoming events in our community pictured here, including our next Wright Blend this coming Friday, August 22nd downtown during the Main Street Association's Buskers on the Corner event. Please join me and my special guest, Naval Air Station Whidbey Island Captain Nathan Gramash, at the corner of Pioneer and Dock Street at 4 p.m. and stay for live music at 5:30 p.m. Office closure for an all-staff meeting. City offices will be closed for an all-staff meeting on Thursday, August 28, 2025, from 10:45 a.m. to 1:15 p.m. This closure may affect utility payments, garbage, recycling, and yard waste schedules. Thank you for your patience. Advisory board vacancies. We will have openings on several of our city advisory boards and commissions. See the city's website for information on how to apply and requirements for applicants. Stay connected. Stay connected to city information and activities at any time by visiting our website and our Facebook page. And at this time, I will entertain city council comments and call upon council for any comments that they have. Councilmember Stuckey.
Yeah, I'd just like to publicly thank you, the mayor, for your communication during the tsunami, which ended up to be thankfully nothing. But, you know, I appreciate that you took the time to call and kind of give us an update, because I was wondering as well, because a lot of people were contacting me. And so I just want to say thank you for reaching out and making the phone call.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Anything else? Yes, Councilmember Wiesner.
I just wanted to thank our 2 summer interns for making it fun, right? I mean, they had a good time, and you know, that came through in everything that I saw that they did, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. I agree too. They were wonderful, and they actually did a lot of really good work too. So they have a lot of energy, those two. All right, we are going to move on to our public hearings and meetings. The first is, excuse me. The first is a public hearing, ordinance number 2028, Oak Harbor Municipal Code, Section 5.01.03, update, business licenses. And here to introduce that is our finance manager, Chaz Webster, to present a review of the proposed ordinance.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Chaz Webster, Finance Manager, and I will be talking about the non-resident business license threshold increase. And it should be kind of quick for you. All right, so we are required to update our, can you hear me? We are required to update our business license ordinance from time to time due to changes at the state level. And this required change affects non-resident or out-of-city businesses who conduct commerce within our city. The change is an increase to the annual gross income threshold from $2,000 to $4,000. The change is effective January 1st, 2026, and the State Business Licensing Service requires a 75-day notification prior to the effective date. And the state will also provide notification to all businesses and update our city's link to their website. So here's the page on the state's website, and this is after the business owner clicks on our business license link. For illustration, I wanted to point out here that all businesses must register. However, the license fee is $0 for businesses with an annual gross income of less than $2,000 currently. This $2,000 threshold will now be $4,000. Bless you. I looked through our current list of businesses, and this will likely affect about 75 of our non-resident businesses who will be happy to have some relief to not having to pay that license fee each year. Regarding our revenue, we're projected to be close to about $215,000 by the end of the year. So with this reduction of license fees from the potential 75 non-resident businesses, it's about a 2% or about $3,700 in revenue that will be reduced. But it's a small reduction relative to the total projected revenue. And here is a summary of the changes set out in the ordinance and the resolution. And I believe we have to open a public hearing. Okay. All right. And so this last frame here is just that motions to adopt.
Great, thanks, Chaz. So at this time, I will open the public hearing, and I will confirm that we have received no public comments on this issue with our city clerk, Julie Nestor.
That's correct, Mayor. No public comments were received.
Great, thank you. And is there anyone here present this evening that would like to step forward and make public comments on this issue? All right, hearing none, I will close the public hearing and call upon council for their questions and comments. Yes, Councilmember Wiesner.
I move to adopt ordinance 2028, amending Oak Harbor Municipal Code, Section 5.01.030, exemptions.
We have a motion as presented by Councilmember Wiesner,
Second.
seconded by Councilmember Merrow. Is there any further discussion before I call for a vote? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Chaz. The next ordinance and resolution is Resolution 2521, Master Fee Schedule, Business License Threshold. And here, once again, to introduce this topic is our Finance Manager, Chaz Webster.
And that is the very same presentation I
Sorry.
just gave.
Yes, Councilmember Wiesner again.
I move to approve Resolution 25-21, amending Oak Harbor Master Fee Schedule, Schedule B, to update the non-resident business gross income threshold.
And I'll second it.
Hold on, before I do that, though, I didn't ask for public comment.
My bad.
Did we receive any public comment?
No, Mayor, no public comment was.
Is there anyone here that would like to make public comment? All right, now I have a motion by Councilmember Wiesner, seconded by Councilmember Mero. Is there any further discussion on this before I call for a vote? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, other items for consideration. We have a City of Oak Harbor employee survey, and here to introduce that is our Communications Officer, Maggie Aguilar.
Hi, good evening, council members and mayor. Thank you for having me here today. I am bringing you today a presentation to conduct a City of Oak Harbor employee survey as requested by yourselves. So thank you for having me today. The purpose of the employee survey is pretty simple. It's to better understand the concerns and the priorities of our staff. And the goal is to gather all this information from our staff, identify the morale, communication, some concerns, operations, and highlight some of the best practices, some of our strengths, because we want to stay on par as well. Once the data is received, a strategy will be formulated into an action plan, which I will go over in more details in the next few slides. And this purpose applies to staff, which includes seasonals, and will carry over to paid interns, volunteers as well, if you'd like. Going to go on to the next one? Nope. Okay, so why in-house? So our city administrator and I have been working with our human resource director to gather information from other municipalities and cities. After reviewing how other municipalities handle their staff surveys, we decided to develop and manage the process internally. As your communications officer, I have formal and extensive training and experience in survey design, data analysis, and strategic planning. This experience will allow us to conduct a professional, data-driven survey without the expense of hiring consultants. I feel very confident that the approach we're taking will meet the goals that you are requesting. And so you know, I really want to collect more actionable data, more insights, feedback, and focus on this actionable data and create results. And how we will focus on creating actionable results, you're probably asking. So we will create a staff survey response team, also known as an SSRT. This team will be made up of staff members from each department, which will focus on and have access to the results, areas of improvement, and creating strategies. So these strategies will be created to maintain the staff morale, and which will be their biggest priority. And the survey is not going to be a survey that will be taken and then just get filed away. Pretty much, when I create a survey and develop a data-driven survey, I like to tell a story through data. Data doesn't lie. In my previous roles, whether it has been for really large media companies like Clear Channel Radio or iHeartMedia, or through the state of Washington or through our local chamber, I've been able to develop strategic plans through data that tell a story. So I look forward to doing the same here. Perfect. And again, through collaborative work with our HR director, Emma, she was able to put together costs from a few vendors. This gives us an idea of what the cost would be to the city if the survey was outsourced. The average cost when combining these is an average of $12,438. And our HR director has more information on each vendor. She also has the PowerPoints, flyers, things like that, and is able to schedule more personalized demos with these vendors if you would like. But one of the vendors that she has gathered here is SurveyMonkey, which we already have access to, so that wouldn't be an additional expense to us. And addressing common staff concerns when taking surveys, I mean, it's important to address these concerns up front and talk about them, be completely transparent. In preparation of the survey, I thought it was important to do some research through conversation and really want to emphasize that we're being proactive in addressing the concerns that we've heard from staff regarding past surveys. One of the biggest things, first and foremost, is privacy. The survey won't collect identifiable info unless it's offered voluntarily. We will work directly with the IT team so that there is one survey per IP address. And since the survey will be anonymous, the city will not be able to have the ability to follow up on specific items, unfortunately. So that is one of the things about anonymity, is that if there are specific concerns, we aren't able to address those specifically with that specific person or that specific department. But we will be able to create a plan overall. So we'll be presenting the result in aggregate form. That basically means compiling all the responses in overall stats and percentages. I personally prefer this method in smaller scale survey settings, just because it tells a story in an easier way than collecting data from thousands and thousands of people. So this is just my preference, and it's easier with lower rating scales to tell a story. And secondly, the low participation and trust is always one of the factors that is concerning the staff. The cross-departmental committee, which is the staff survey response team, will review the results and recommend solutions. This process will allow us to be not only transparent, but it will allow us to create change and use the data to come up with actionable plans. Okay, so is no news good news? So we often assume that silence means that the staff is content, or that there isn't any issues, or everything is fine. But in today's environment, it can also signal a fear or a sense of, if I give my opinion or if I take the survey, is anything going to be done? So this survey will offer a structured way to uncover those issues ahead of time. We want to be able to be proactive and tell the staff what the results and what we will do with the results, what the actionable plans are going to be. And while we offer a structured survey to uncover these results, we want to be able to use the data to spot the trends early enough. So while we analyze the results, we're going to try to organize it so that we can also see what we are doing well, what we can highlight, and how we can stay on par moving forward. Okay, so here's what you can expect from the survey. A short 10 to 15 minute staff survey. I think anything longer than that, you probably will not get a lot of participation. With the amount of questions, I think that you probably will not get the data that you're looking for with anything less than a 10 to 15 minute survey. We'll handle the anonymous data internally and reduce the cost to the city. And again, the staff committee will review the results and propose recommendations and actions, and then return to council with a clear summary and recommendations. Are there any questions?
All right, so before I turn it over for questions, I'm just going to confirm that we've received no public comment on this issue.
That's correct, Mayor. No public comments were received.
Great, and is there anyone here with us this evening that would like to step forward and make public comment? All right, hearing none, I will call upon council for their questions and comments at this time. Councilmember Merrill?
I had the honor of working with Maggie Aguilar at the Chamber of Commerce, and my experience with her professionalism and expertise in all these facets is hugely respectful. So I'm confident that she is going to be able to do this at a great savings to us, and I think it's actually commendable that we're able to do this. And then also I'm a born-again skeptic about surveys, but having done one in a previous capacity, I was surprised and delighted that they were actually extremely helpful. So with Communications Officer Aguilar, I'm confident we'll get good, actionable results. Thank you, Maggie.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councilmember Merrill. Councilmember Stuckey?
Yeah, a few questions.
Sure.
And of course, the point of the survey, I would imagine, is, what are we doing good? Where we maybe have opportunities for improvement? Because we all want to have morale as high as possible, and we all want to move the city in a positive direction. So having one of these every couple of years is a good thing. I mean, if I look up here, I think since the last one, Councilmember Wiesner, you were here, I was here. Councilmember Marshall might have been here, but that's it. So it's been a little while.
How
So-
long ago? Was that like a few years?
Through was Mayor Bob, he probably had about a year left. About a year left. Yeah.
Okay.
So the part that I'm having difficulty with is Section 2, council relations. I think that we need to, I have no problem with there being questions about council relations. We have an impact on staff as well. I just feel a little singled out in that there's a council relations section, but not an administrative relations section. Like, I feel like there should be both or neither. And so I feel like just singling out council, I mean, if we go back to shortly after Mayor started, we were emailed a policy that basically was we don't talk to staff. Now, that was a different time. We were in a different environment. And if I remember correctly, you kind of recanted that a little bit at our retreat, where you said, no, you can go ahead and talk to department heads. But we're not supposed to be into the nitty-gritty talking with staff. We're just supposed to let them do their job, which can sometimes make it a little difficult for questions like, how has that impacted them if we're not supposed to talk to them? So I do feel like having a section just on council relations, again, I have no problem with a question or two in there, but I think it needs to be equal between administration and council. Otherwise, I do feel like it's kind of singling out a little bit.
I agree. So based on the conversation that we have had, I did make that change in Section 2. So I will send the revision for council and mayor to review, and did include a council mayor administration relationships.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
How will staff be encouraged to take this survey? I mean, it's not going to be mandatory. Is there incentives? I mean, is it just going to be one email, hey, we'd love for you to fill it out? How is this going to be advertised within the city?
So I think the first way to launch it is to be able to talk about it at the all staff next week. That would be the best place to launch the survey. We'll have the attention of the staff. It's a great environment, fun environment, and also reminders through emails. If there is a possibility and the ability to have incentives, I would love to do that and go that route. So that's something that with the committee we can discuss if that is a possibility, because incentives do obviously work.
Is there the potential to tie this into wellness and maybe do like small gift cards to like Starbucks or something randomly drawing for people who participated?
I don't know.
Because
Is
in
that
a way,
something we can
it's
tie in with
tied
wellness?
into
I don't
wellness,
know.
right?
It goes back to our employee policy manual and gifting to staff, and I know Hillary's probably going to chime in
Well,
at
that's
any minute and give us.
Well, that's why I'm asking though. But I mean, again, it's wellness, and we gift things through that program anyway.
One thing we did talk about, which I believe was on the slide about the different costs, was potentially targeting staff in a way to say, if we achieve this level of response, it's at the bottom of the slide. If we achieve this level of response, we do things like this. If we achieve this level of response, we do.
Like a
Thank you, Tim.
completion rate, yeah.
Yeah, so we
I
create
didn't
sort
see
of
that.
incentives that are tied back to the departments getting something because we're seeing response rate. And by department, sorry, I mean facilities. But that we would go out to the different areas and provide something to staff in recognition of them completing the survey at a higher rate. So then that does create an engagement for them to do that.
This survey, there's the potential for, the public's probably going to want to know the results of this survey. How are the results going to be communicated to the public?
Well, I'll put it together in a presentation form with aggregate data so that it's easy to follow and easy to present, so that the community is able to see exactly where we are and there aren't any questions. I think that's the best way to do it.
But aren't you also presenting it back to council?
We will be presenting it back,
so-
yeah. And we can post it. It's all public record.
And then my other question is,
Sure.
I know I heard it about HR looking into other things. I mean, this seems right up your alley as a communications person, but it also seems up the alley of an HR person as well. Is as you're going through this process, is HR involved?
I think so. I think it's important. They have been involved since the beginning. So with working with Emma, our HR director, she provided the questions through another municipality. So she's been involved in the process. She will be very involved within the committee and also involved in the data.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely should be HR driven. But with the experience I have, I feel like I can drive it.
And then the last question, and this is more for Mayor. It's always tricky when I've done this in businesses I've had before, where it's basically, hey, rate your boss in a way. I mean, it's difficult. So I appreciate you being willing to do this. Are you having any involvement with the structure of the questions, or have you pretty much just delegated to staff and say go with it?
The only involvement I had was the committee at the end was my recommendation, was because my question back to Maggie when she presented everything to me was, what are we going to do with the data, though? I don't want to just have a survey and then have results. So I recommended that we form a committee within our staff that works on the results that come out of the survey. And then, that we can show the staff that this wasn't just an effort for nothing. We're gonna have an ongoing effort to continue to affect morale in a positive way. So that was the only input I have had on this. So,
And when you do present the results, and Sabrina might have a copy or something, it might be nice to have the survey that was last time. Obviously, it's not apples to apples, but it might be nice to give some comparisons just to see have things gotten better, stay the same. So if you have that prior survey, and I understand the questions won't be exact, but if we could have some comparables so that we can feel which direction we're going would be quite helpful.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I asked when that last one was done, because I think it would be important to see it.
I think I saw about an email. It was in my email. It was about 3 years ago or so. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for spearheading this.
No, of course.
Councilmember Wiesner.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, Maggie, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Right? I mean, really, this is important, I think, to all of us, including you, your staff, right? And the fact that we are able to do this and do this in-house and seek input from other municipalities, I was the guy out here screaming, let's take that route. And I really do appreciate you taking the time to listen to that and follow up on that. I will, echo, what you guys are saying about HR. Obviously, HR is the one who has to deal with a lot of the responses, right? They're the ones who are going to, have to lead the charge, in addressing, things that come out of it. So it's important, obviously, that we gather data in such a fashion that it becomes usable to them, And I absolutely agree with you that it's important for all of staff to understand what the purpose of and how the information is going to be used. Because that, in my mind, takes a lot of the fear out of it, right? This is not a retaliation survey. And I think to carry that a little further, why and maybe how it came about. Just a little history. I mean, we all assume that, staff sitting at home right now watching us all on TV because they work here and, they want to know what's going on, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's important for them to understand that this is something, this body and this administration feels as though it should be an ongoing thing. This is not coming out of a particular incident or anything that's going on currently in the city. This is not a subject of just current discussion or, we're looking for, what people are involved in what. This is something that we've been discussing as needing to be an ongoing thing, and we're doing it, and we're seeing it through, and the administration's seeing it through. And I do like the incentive. Right, because the reality is, if it costs, we're saving tens of thousands of dollars on doing this survey in-house, and if it costs us a few $100s to actually get people to show up, to give us their opinion, right? If we don't get a wide enough array of the opinion, then the entire survey is skewed, right? And so the incentive to get everybody to participate down to, like you say, the temporaries. I mean, the temporaries and the seasonals might have some of the best insight for us, right? Because they just came on with fresh eyes. They're people who came on, had a short amount of time here, and they're the freshest eyes, right? And so getting everybody to participate, I think, is important. Finally, my final comment, and again, I have nothing negative to say about this entire concept, right? But I think it is important in any survey for everybody to understand thoroughly the question that's being answered, and in this case, the players and how they're involved. I guarantee you there's people who work in the city who don't understand the council's role, the mayor's role, Sabrina's role, your role, right? I think it's important for them to understand that we're the policymakers, right? And when you talk about council in the deal, I think it's important for that to understand, how they're feeling about the policies that are coming down from this body. We're typically not the ones who come up with the ideas for policy. Those typically come from the bottom up. I mean, we are not a leadership group up here that typically comes up with the ideas, but we are certainly the people who, approve them or don't approve them, and I think it's important for staff to understand that. The administration obviously is the day-to-day operational things. We're the policymakers, and obviously their supervisors are the people who determine how each of their departments run, and the mood and the mode, and how that the department operates. And maybe just a little bit of a blurb about that.
Okay.
So that people because when you read those questions, if you block out of your mind the knowledge you have about council, policymakers, administration, who does what, and you block out, and then you read the question. If you don't know what the role is of the body or the person that's being asked about, then you really don't understand how to answer that question, if you know what I mean. So, surveys obviously are only as good as the understandability of the question and the intent of the question. And I think, some of, addressing, Councilmember Stuckey's comments, it is important for them to understand what we're trying to intend to get feedback on. Is it the policy decision that was made, or is it the policy altogether?
Right.
Is it how the policy was implemented? Is it how it's rolling down into their particular department through their particular supervisor? Where do they feel the backlog is, if there's a backlog, or some sort of productive input that they could feed, right? And so that's my only suggestion. Maybe a little bit of explanation about government, who the players are, so that they know how to answer those questions.
Yeah, great.
But
Great suggestion.
I can't see anything negative coming out of this. I know we're always concerned about skewed data and how data may look to the public and stuff, but that's all part of taking a survey. Every good business does this. They do it regularly. Every good business is constantly going through change. We're no different. If we didn't go through change, we still wouldn't be making online utility payments, even though the system's a little clunky, and I know you're working on that, and we're going to get that fixed, right? Because we're listening to the input. But there was a time in a day where you couldn't even do that, right? And so we're constantly going to be innovating. We're constantly going to be changing, and this is the best way for us as the leaders in the community to get the feedback from the people, boots on the ground, as to how those results are, or how all those changes are taking place in real life. Because like Councilmember Stuckey says, we typically don't go storming into, Public Works and go hang out there for a day. That, quite frankly, isn't our role, but that's also distracting to staff, and we get that. And us going in, tying up staff, messing up their day, taking time away from what they had planned for the day just to entertain us isn't where, we typically are at. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, I appreciate that. And I one of the biggest things when I created the presentation for the survey was to be intentional. So I appreciate your comment, and we'll formulate something so that it will express that in the survey. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Councilmember Wiesner. Anybody else for the good of the order? Yes, Councilmember Marshall.
Thank you, Mayor. And
Maggie, I think this is great, and I'm really happy that we can do this in-house and have with significant cost savings. I'm going to ask a question that is going to show my ignorance, I'm sure, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Yeah.
For those who were concerned about anonymity, you said something about these are going to be set up by individual IP addresses. Can't an IP address be traced back to a computer or an individual or something? I mean, so how do we?
Yeah, I mean, every IP address can be traced back to a city computer.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's not the purpose of the survey.
And
the purpose of the IP address is so that you can only take it once. Like we're not tracing it to anyone.
And the IP address, if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but that would only be determinable by,
Where the physical computer's located.
no, but I mean, that's only there's only one staff member that would be able to do that, right? That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
It's IT.
We have one staff member who is technically skilled where they'd be looking at that. I don't know about
what I'm
other
saying is
offsite
I won't have
staff.
access to
But we
There's only
also-
one person that's even got the skill set to
We
do
would,
that.
we
So
would have that data in the survey tool that Maggie would have access to, and so that's how we would limit that access to that
Not us,
information.
yeah, and my biggest question about the IP address, which I did have a question, was do we have folks that are working with a shared computer in a workspace?
That was
Because
a
if we
question.
do-
That was a question that I also had about shared computers.
So my
yeah.
concern is how are those individuals going to be
Right.
able to take the survey?
So that is what we addressed in the actual item in the agenda bill, that you could use various platforms. So a lot of our employees, because of our union agreements, have smartphone devices. So the great thing about SurveyMonkey is you can use a smartphone for that. You could use a tablet. We have several of those around the building. Computer, all of those things are options.
Okay, just making sure that we've thought about that, because I imagine that we do have folks that are sharing PCs, and not everyone has their own PC, so.
Right.
Okay.
We'll make it accessible and equitable for everyone to be able
That's
to
all I
take
care
it.
about. That's all I care about, so.
And
Yes.
is that how we
Sorry.
will calculate the completion rate, is through the IP addresses?
Well, once you take the survey, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially, yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Councilmember Merrow.
These incentives are excellent. So whatever the final package is, I'm all for it. And
Okay.
how to say this? Once the results come in, we do not have a determination in advance what the results are.
Right.
So I'm not asking for necessarily any comment or reply, but I am just urging a measure of caution that the results come in, they need to be processed, and then the evaluation of how it is going to be presented might actually include potential responses by the administration or the council or whoever about how they're going to attend to that. But I would not, at least on initial thought, just unleash the results to the public without some very careful consideration about the impact it would have on public opinion. That's all I
Right.
got.
Okay.
Anything else? Yes, Councilmember Wiesner.
Just one more quick thought. If you're going to dig out that last survey,
Yeah.
I would think it'd be a great opportunity to reference that previous survey for people who've been around in the past. And if there's items on that survey that we felt as though showed a strong indication of needing improvement, and we think that we have tackled that and done some improvement, let's ask them. You know, how do they feel this particular item is as compared to the last survey? Serves two purposes, right? There's a gauging on whatever action we took place, but also shows them that we listened to the last one. And then we took some action. We haven't forgot about that item, right? And we want to hear if the actions we took were effective or not. I mean, it's an opportunity, and I'm not saying that
Yeah.
there might not be anything on that last survey that just flies off the page, but it couldn't hurt to reference that last survey in this survey for the people who've been around before, so that they remember that we remember.
Right. Yeah, it'd be good to take a look at it, see how we can make it useful.
All right. Anything else for the good of the order? All right. If nothing, I would. Well, are we going to actually go to a motion at this point on this, since you were revamping a couple questions?
Yeah, I would like
She's
to.
got it here. I don't know.
Yeah, I would like to go back and maybe revamp those a little bit and revise the questions, if that's what council would like.
Well, do we really need a motion on this, though, anyway, to do this?
I don't really know, do we?
Like a workshop.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
Yeah,
I can bring it, I
We
can
can
bring
bring
it
it back to workshop
Okay.
next week and
Sure.
then just present it. Okay, that
Okay.
sounds good.
Want to try to get it done for the picnic?
Yeah, we
I
do.
do,
We
definitely, yeah.
It's a way we can touch everybody at one time, so.
Yeah.
I think we were just trying to make sure that you guys approved of the process we were taking and that we were moving forward.
Yeah,
So,
but I don't
not
need
so much
this.
about a motion, but just making sure we're following in
Right,
suit with what you
but-
And
requested.
that we'll be creating it in-house, was one of the,
Great,
Great.
thank you, Maggie,
Okay.
for that.
no, thank you, thanks for having me.
All right, we are going to move on to approval of accounts payable vouchers. Note, this voucher list contains a payment or payments to the Greater Oak Harbor Chamber of Commerce, of which Councilmember Marshall is the executive director. In order to avoid a conflict of interest, Councilmember Marshall has stated he will recuse himself from a vote on such payments, which are now a separate agenda item. Let's confirm that we've received no public comment on this issue with our city clerk, Julie Nestor.
That's correct, Mayor. No public comments were received.
Request any additional public comments on this issue? All right, hearing none, call upon council for their questions or comments on the accounts payable vouchers as presented. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion. Yes, Councilmember Wiesner.
I move to approve the accounts payable voucher, of the Oak Harbor Chamber of Commerce as presented.
All right, we have a motion to approve the accounts payable vouchers as presented, by Councilmember Wiesner, seconded by Councilmember Wittgenstein. Is there any further discussion before I call for a vote? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. All right, so we have 5 in favor. Did I count right? Yeah, and 1 abstention, right? All right, thank you very much. All right, at this time, the council will move into an executive session per RCW 4230.1111B to consider the selection of a site or the acquisition of real estate by lease or purchase when public knowledge regarding such consideration would cause a likelihood of increased price, and per RCW 4231.110.1C to consider the minimum price at which real estate will be offered for sale or lease when public knowledge regarding such consideration would cause a likelihood of decreased price, and per RCW 4230.110.1I to discuss with legal counsel litigation or potential litigation. The anticipated duration of the executive session is 15 minutes. Action may or may not be taken upon return to the open session of the regular meeting. Executive sessions are not open to the public. So we are going into executive session at 6:36, so we will be back at 6:55.
The council has announced that they will extend the executive session for an additional 10 minutes, so it will be till 7:05, and extending 10 minutes till 7:05. The council has announced an additional extension of the executive session for 2 additional minutes until 7:07 PM. The council has announced an additional extension of the executive session for 3 more minutes until 7:10 PM.
I told him it was me.
All right, we have come out of executive session and will now resume the regular meeting. No action will be taken by the council at this time regarding the matters discussed. There being no further business, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a motion to adjourn, seconded. All in favor, raise your right hand, and we are adjourned.